CRISPR has evolved from molecular scissors to a precision pencil for the genome.
We're coming to you today with a special report on a story that is unfolding right now, in real time. This isn't science fiction. This is happening in our hospitals and labs as we speak. We are talking about genome editing, the incredible and kind of scary power to rewrite the very code of life. So let's get right into it. For years, the idea of editing our genes was something you'd see in movies. Well, not anymore. We've officially crossed a major threshold. Regulatory bodies have given the green light to the first ever therapies based on CRISPR gene editing. What that means is, for people suffering from terrible genetic diseases like sickle cell anemia, a potential cure is no longer just a hope. It's a real approved medical treatment. So how on earth did we get here so fast? I mean, how did we go from a concept in a science journal to a life-saving therapy in, just over a decade? It's the story of a scientific revolution that is moving at absolute lightning speed. What you're looking at here, this is a truly historic milestone. Companies like CRISPR Therapeutics, with their treatment CASGEVY and Editas Medicine, they've done it. They've taken this unbelievably complex research out of the lab and turned it into actual medicine. They've got the first approvals, and they're offering brand new hope to thousands of people. Now, to be clear, editing genes isn't a totally new idea. For a while, scientists had these older tools, you can see them here, ZFNs and TALENs, but honestly, they were clunky. They were hard to use, super expensive, and really slow. And then CRISPR-Cas9 came along. It was a genuine leap forward. Think of it like going from an old, complicated telephone switchboard to a simple search bar for our DNA. All of a sudden, gene editing became faster, cheaper, and way more accurate. But you know how science is, right? It never ever stands still. Even as these first CRISPR therapies are making their way to patients, the tech itself has already moved on. The next generation of gene editing tools is already here, and they promise to be even more precise and even safer. Okay, so first up is something called base editing. If the original CRISPR is like a pair of molecular scissors that cuts the DNA, base editing is more like a pencil with a really, really precise eraser. It lets scientists chemically change just a single wrong letter in the genetic code to the right one, like flipping a C to a T. And importantly, it does this without making a big, risky cut across both strands of the DNA, which seriously lowers the chances of making mistakes. And then you have prime editing. This is, it's the next level. If base editing is a pencil, prime editing is like the find and replace function on your computer. It can search for a specific genetic sequence and then replace it with a corrected one. It can fix not just single letters, but also small insertions or deletions. It's an incredibly powerful tool that, again, avoids those dangerous double-strand breaks. It's a safer and potentially much more powerful way to edit. And this illustration is just brilliant at showing how it works. You see, the prime editor uses this special guide. Part of it does the search, finding the exact spot in our DNA it needs to fix. The other part carries the correct genetic code, acting as the replace template. The system then just rewrites the DNA right there on the spot. The potential here for correcting a huge, huge range of diseases is it's mind-boggling. Now, let's switch gears a bit, because when you have a scientific breakthrough this big, the money is sure to follow. Unsurprisingly, this revolution has kicked off a massive industry, one that's now measured in the tens of billions of dollars. Let's just put a number on it. Right now, in 2025, the global market for genome editing is valued at over $10.5 billion. To give you some perspective, that's already bigger than the entire global film industry. So yeah, this is not some niche academic thing anymore. It is a major economic engine. And it's not slowing down. In fact, the growth is expected to be explosive. By 2035, just a decade from now, that market is projected to more than quadruple, hitting over $44 billion. That kind of growth tells you there is enormous confidence in this technology's potential to treat thousands of genetic diseases. So, what's driving the market today? Well, as you can see, the original CRISPR-Cas9 is still king. It makes up almost 2/3 of the entire market. It was first, it's easy to use, and it's been adopted everywhere. It's the go-to tool for now, even with these newer, more precise editors starting to make waves. And who's using it? This chart tells a really important story. Almost half of the entire market is driven by biotech and pharmaceutical companies. That tells you everything. There's been a massive shift from pure research toward one big goal: developing and selling new drugs and therapies. But, and this is a big but, With this kind of power and this much money on the line comes some incredibly profound questions. This technology is forcing us to confront some of the most difficult ethical problems our species has ever faced. We are deep in the gray zone here. And really, it all boils down to this one question. Is this technology going to be a tool that cures humanity's worst diseases for everyone? Or does it risk creating a future that makes our existing inequalities even worse, dividing us into the genetically haves and have-nots? Henry Greeley, a law and ethics professor at Stanford, really puts a sharp point on this fear. He warns about a future where wealthy parents could literally pay to give their children genetic advantages, creating a kind of biological underclass. A world where your success is determined not by your hard work, but by your DNA. And that fear doesn't feel so far-fetched when you see this number. The price tag for a single treatment with one of these approved gene therapies can be around $2.2 million. It raises the biggest question of all. How can this technology help all of humanity if it's priced so high that only the very, very wealthy can access it? And look, this debate isn't just theoretical. We have already had massive ethical wake-up calls. The biggest, most infamous one was back in 2018, when a scientist in China created the world's first gene-edited babies. The backlash was immediate and global. It was a terrifying reminder that the science was moving way, way faster than our ability to regulate it. That whole incident was a shock to the system, but it also made one thing crystal clear. No single scientist, or company, or even country can make these decisions alone. It kickstarted a desperately needed global conversation about how we as a species are going to manage this technology. And we're actually seeing the results of that conversation now. This isn't just a Western issue. All around the world, governments and health organizations, like the Dubai Health Authority you see here, are working to create their own rules and standards for this new age of medicine. So whose job is it to get this right? The truth is, it's on everyone. It's on the scientists to be open and talk to the public. It's on corporations to think about affordability. It's on governments to create smart, clear laws. And it's on international groups to try and set global standards so this is done safely and fairly for everyone. This quote from the journal Nature just nails it. There's a growing urgent demand for international cooperation. Without it, we risk a future full of loopholes and ethical messes that could end up doing more harm than good. Which leaves us with this final, massive thought. For the first time in human history, the code of life isn't just something we can read. It's something we can write. The question for all of us is no longer if we can do this. The question is, who gets to decide what we write?
The Genesis code is unlocked.